joined tonight by Texas Congressman Ron Paul, who's been a candidate for president twice, a congressman on and off from Texas for 4 decades now. Thanks for joining us. Today, you absolutely took the TSA to the woodshed, really lambasting what some are calling state-sanctioned molestation at the airport. What's your point? What are you trying to get accomplished?
Well, I think it's very obvious when you see the pictures now of somebody being probed by these TSA agents and telling us that we're going to be free and safe because of this. But really, I think what finally got to me was when the government official comes up and says that when you buy a ticket, you don't have any more constitutional rights to privacy or any constitutional rights. And that's not the way it should be. I don't know where that idea came from, and that was sort of an outrageous statement. But I don't believe the TSA makes us safe, and I don't like the notion.
You think it's a big show, actually, don't you? It's all theater.
It is, and they want us to believe that they can make us perfectly safe. If they think they can or try to make us perfectly safe, it's always at the expense of personal liberty. And this is such a dramatic example. I've complained a lot about what we do in government and the invasion of privacy, but this one is so dramatic. It's out in the open.
Okay, so what do we do, Congressman Paul? What do we do to try to make the flying public safe, or do we kind of accept this as the new world and say, okay, there may be some danger out there, but we're not going to have our rights violated in the process?
Well, you do two things. One, you try to understand why those individuals might be motivated. You have to understand what the al-Qaeda is all about. The al-Qaeda comes about because they're sick and tired of what we're doing in the Middle East. They flat out admit that is the reason. They don't like our foreign policy of, supporting certain regimes over there and actually committing war over there. So that's one reason. And if we don't change that, we're always going to have to fear the al-Qaeda. But the other thing is let's say we can't do that, which we're not going to be able to. The next thing is how does the best protection of property come? It's private ownership. Most people in this country, I know it's in Texas, and I bet it's true in Arizona, is that your protection of your property doesn't come from the policeman standing out in front of your door. It's usually because most people know that people believe in the Second Amendment, and they have a gun in the house.
Wait a minute now. Are you talking about having people carrying firearms on board the aircraft?
Certain people should be. The property owners, the responsibility of the safety on the aircraft should be the owner of the property. Before 9/11, the responsibility was given to the government. The government ran all this security. We were spending $40 billion trying to find out intelligence.
And they failed.
We failed, and they failed. But they were also told you can't have a gun, and you're not allowed to resist any hijackers. So the government was, not only because of the foreign policy, but because of the way they were managing security. So I would say if the airlines were totally responsible a long time ago, they would have had these solid doors where nobody could break into them, and they would have a gun in the cockpit. So
we've got just a little bit of time left. You are saying that the opt-out day during the Thanksgiving holiday is probably a good idea, that people protest this stuff at the airport.
Yes, and it can be messy, and some people are going to get upset, but they have a right to be upset, and they should be upset with the government. This is what people have to do when the Congress won't respond, and they create these problems. The executive branch makes it worse. The courts don't help us. So the people finally, it's sort of like what the Tea Party movement did. They got sick and tired of what was happening on medical care.
And let me get to that quickly.
Speaking out.
Let me get to that quickly because we've only got a couple of seconds left. Are you hopeful that this new Congress, with a lot of new blood, a lot of it very conservative, even libertarian-leaning, and Tea Party, can start to fix some of the problems you see in this country?
I am hopeful, but I've been hopeful for a lot of years, and most of the time I've been disappointed. But I'm probably more hopeful now than ever before.
Okay.
We're certainly going to see the movement toward nationalizing everything slowed up.
Texas Congressman Ron Paul, thank you for spending some time. You're very kind to take some time out of your night, which I know has been busy, to spend some time with us here on Fox 10. Thank you.
Get myfoxphoenix.com on your iPhone free at the App Store and stay connected.